Hey all, good morning and welcome to the morning show. This is Raj here, and we're going to talk genomics today. It's the 11th of July 2022, and I'm starting my recording around 7:45 a.m. So we're going to be uploading this video before market open. And today my goal is to make this much shorter and more precise. So I'm going to be going a bit faster than usual, and I also streamlined the contents. So let's get started. Let's kick off the session with the fear and greed index. So here I have the fear and greed index from CNN Money. So you can just go to CNN Money, cnn.com/market/fear and greed, and you can see this chart for yourself. And we have improved much more from where we were earlier. We were in extreme fear, and these days we are hovering around in fear. We had to go progressively towards neutral and greed. And I think that we are going to be in neutral somewhere towards the first month of the last quarter. And after that, we are going to go further up. Maybe we are at the bottom consolidating. So there'll be a bit of movement up and down. But generally, all shares will move sideways. That's my thinking based on where we are with the fear and greed index. Next item I would like to talk to you about is that the Shanghai officials are reporting new Omicron BA.5 variant, subvariant found in the city. And as you know, they have a zero tolerance policy and they immediately lock down buildings. So this is causing a concern, and most probably this will also be reflected in the oil prices going down, because if China is likely to do more lockdowns, that means production is going to go down, oil demand will go down, therefore oil prices could go down. We'll check that out when we look at oil prices. Then we are looking at Sri Lanka problems. There is almost a good deal of anarchy out there. Protesters have occupied the presidential palace, and they are refusing to move out until the new government is formed. It's very messy, and their deals with their talks with IMF broke down. So overall, it's looking really bad out there. And the next item I would like to talk to you about is Ukraine criticizes Canada over return of turbines for Russia-Germany pipeline. Ukraine is also calling out Germany on its actions, because this particular turbine is being returned to Russia after maintenance by Canada at Germany's request, because without that turbine, the Nordisk 2 won't be able to receive the gas pumped from Russia. And Germany wants to quickly build up its gas reserves to 90% of its requirement before winter. Right now, I think they are around 65% or something. So the story goes like Germany requested Canada to waive the embargo on this item and send it back to Russia, give exemption to the sanctions, and Canada obliged. And the latest one out here is that Europe warily eyes Russian gas. Zelensky vows retaliation for apartment strike. Especially in the last 16 hours, there have been some air raids conducted by Russia on Ukraine, which has also caused more casualties. So they are again screaming at the top of their lungs and trying to attract international attention to put an end to this carnage. But things are looking bleak in the Russia-Ukraine war front. We might probably find some relief in oil only because of the COVID issue with China. None of this helps us in Nasdaq. So that's where I think we are going to end up with our news cycle today. Well, here are our recordings. If you look at the screen here, we have got PepsiCo on Tuesday. So that's the earliest that we'll start hearing about any earnings. And PepsiCo, I think it is a consumer discretionary. So if their earnings are going down, that means we are in trouble. On Wednesday, we have Delta. If Delta reports positive outlook and also earnings as they were mentioning in Q1, then the market is likely to start jumping even before we come to Thursday. On Thursday, we have two banks, JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley. Of course, they will also determine how the market goes. And Cintas is going to give us information about how many employees, the strength of employment, because when employees join a company, they may need uniforms and all those things. That's what Cintas provides. So anything for onboarding employees. So Cintas earnings will give us an idea of what's happening in the employment front. On Friday, we're going to get the bulk of our earnings for this week. So I think that the earliest action we are likely to see is Wednesday. And we have on Friday, we have Wells Fargo, Citi, US Bancorp, BNY Mellon, State Street, BlackRock, and Progressive. All of these, when they report, it will show us an idea of what the financial sector is doing. And they will also have commentary, forward-looking statement about how they think the next quarter is going to be like. And that will also give us a whole lot of idea on which direction the market is going to go. We need to wait for this. Now let's go and have a look at our Nasdaq and other indices. So let's start off with Nasdaq futures. If I look at Nasdaq futures, it's down minus 0.85%. So futures are showing a bearish tint at this point of time. And if I was to go in and look at our indicators, the first thing I would do is look at oil, US oil. Now this chart is a 2-hour candle. I have taken a much shorter term outlook. So this chart shows that oil is weak, minus 2.44%. I think the reason for this drop is the fear that there will be further lockdowns in China. That's basically what is causing the reduction in oil prices. And it seems that of late India is purchasing even more oil from Russia because of the discounted price, and because the demand from India in the rest of the market has gone down. I think that's also keeping the oil price slightly soft. If India was to stop buying oil from Russia and come back to the regular sources, then we might see a uptick in oil prices. But overall, because of demand destruction, oil prices are going down, and the downward trend will continue, in my opinion. Our next support is going to be this diagonal line out here. For today, oil is looking bearish at this point of time when we look at the MACD and the momentum. With that said, I would like to go and have a look at the VIX. This is a live VIX out here. Each of these candles are 2-hour candles, and we have a green candle out here. I'm going to expand the size of the chart so that I would be able to show you those candles in a much bigger shape. So if you're watching it on your cell phone, still you should be able to see at least something. So this is the candle for today. Today is the 11th, and each of these candles is a 2-hour candle. So we started off first with a negative candle. We were higher up, closer to this diagonal red line of resistance. And then we came down. The next candle also, the next 2 hours, we came down. And as we come closer to market open, we can see that the volatility is increasing. And it got a very good support from the 20-day exponential moving average, which is this orange line sitting at 26.20, followed by the 9-day exponential moving average sitting much below at 25.88. So our immediate resistance for today is going to be at 26.60. If we break that, our next resistance is at 27.08, which is the 50-day exponential moving average. So we'll have to wait and see what happens when the market opens. Right now, the futures are showing a bearish outlook. VIX being high, that indicates that the share market is likely to be low. With that said, I'd like to go and look at the put-call ratio the way it ended last week. It ended very close to neutral. So for today, we don't have any lines out here. But given how the other indicators have been, if it is bearish, I would expect us to have VIX somewhere around 1 and plus 1, something above 1, or somewhere in that range, 0.99 to 1.04. That's the range at which I think VIX might end up today. But that's my educated guess on where it would go. And if I was to look at XLP and XLR, I have a green candle out here for the 8th, which is the last day of business, and we were still risk on at that point of time. Given the fact that all indicators are bearish, I would generally assume that the share markets might go down, but I think Genomics is in a pocket where we are going to continue to see a bit of green going forward. It's not going to strictly correlate with Nasdaq, but even if the Nasdaq goes down, I think some of the genomics companies are going to put on a little bit of value at this point of time. And one of the driving factors behind that, based on what I have read around the places, that the expert opinion is that what is happening right now is those people who had short interest because genomic stocks were falling sharply, they are developing a bit of a cold feet because there could be big pharma coming and picking up some of these companies at the cheap, in which case they would lose out. And that's the reason why this is happening. And especially if with regard to Bluebird, we know that Bluebird has got very little cash and they are very close to getting approval for one of their therapies. So it's very, very close to call. It's like touch and go. So there is the potential that Bluebird might end up selling at a low price or may not have takers for the whole company, but just for the therapy. We don't know. So those possibilities are there. That's why the short interest is going away from there because the shares are already beaten down And it seems that's the reason why there's a bit of relief for genomic companies. That's one, that's something that I'm hearing out there. May or may not be true, but I think that genomics will do better today, despite a wider downturn. With that said, I'd like to go and look at our index. US dollar index is going up. These are all daily candles now. And when US dollar index goes up, generally it means funds are flowing into the US dollar index. And if they also happen to come from the stock market, then stock market is likely to go down. So I think this is also reading bearish for the stock market. So at least the open is going to be bearish based on all these indicators. Now let us see what the pre-market action tells us. If we look at QQQ, the pre-market action is telling us that we're going to have a negative start. So it's down minus 0.83. We are at 8:19 a.m. in the morning at this point of time. We are a bit early, but we are looking at a bearish open based on the indicators out here. And if I was to zoom out into the QQQ, we have a support out here at the bottom, and we don't have a candle for today. So I'm going to assume the candle for today is going to come here. So this is going to be 288.71 is the support which we have, which is because of this diagonal line of support, which had been resistance in the past. And that's going to be sitting at around 288.71, somewhere in that range. So that's our support. MACD is bullish, and but momentum is above average but flat. The flatness of the momentum is what makes me feel that maybe we are going to get a pullback. And as soon as the pullback happens, the first level of support is going to be 292.96, and the ultimate level of support is going to be 288.71, something in that range. Next, let us look at SPY. So if we were to look at SPY, we can see that we are straddling a next level of support, which is this diagonal green line out here. And pre-market, we are already down minus 0.69%. So S&P is also indicating a bearish open at this point of time. IWM is also indicating a bearish open with a minus 0.67% drop in pre-market trades. Dow Jones in the industrial average is down minus 0.16% as of end of Friday, and pre-market it's down minus 0.55%. So all of the indices are pre-market showing a bearish open. With that said, I would like to go and have a look at the genomic sector. Here we are with our genomics sector. Our watch list is on the right side, and we are seeing Verve has the biggest gainer from Friday. It gained 7.01%, and the biggest loser on Friday was PACB, which lost 2.68%. So I think that there is going to be a bit of positive push for the companies which were negative last time. And also, I think that we are going to probably see share prices for various companies which has gone to the higher limit of their consolidation zone, hitting the resistance and coming back down. Let's take the example of PACB. PACB is very close to the upper channel out here, which is the line of resistance for the range bound consolidation that we saw earlier. And it's also hitting a resistance from the 50-day exponential moving average that sits at 5.73. Pre-market, we are down minus 0.73%. So definitely PACB is showing a bearish open, and it's likely to hit this resistance and come back down, and it will get support potentially either in this line of support out here or in this line of support out here, which sits at around 3.88. So I would say that somewhere around 3.93 is where we have the bottom of the channel. So we can fall up to that level today. So that's what I would say for PACB. Let's go and have a look at Verve. In Verve also, we had done a channel in which we were consolidating, but we have clearly broken through above that. And yesterday we broke through our resistance of 20.82, which I'm going to mark as a support for today. And pre-market, there are no trades. MACD is bullish, but momentum is overbought. And this is the reason why we are going to see weakness in Verve prices today. It needs the momentum to cool down, and it has to come down. The RSI has to come down from overbought back into our zone between 30 and 70 so that it can continue its upward movement. So I'm going to see some weakness today, and potentially we are going to give up the support we have for 21.23 out here. This line of support, which is at 20.82, and we're going to fall below that. But we'll get support from the 100-day exponential moving average, which is sitting at 19.88. SQZ, again, no trades pre-market, and it's again going within this range bound area. So I think SQZ may potentially open up positive today, and it could go up further. It has got resistance from the 50-day exponential moving average, which sits at 3.57. But I think SQZ might move up today. Caribou Biosciences, it gained 3.82% on Friday, and it's got a resistance from the 50-day exponential moving average. The MACD is bullish, as well as the momentum is above average and picking up. There are no trades pre-market, but Caribou looks strong on the charts. We'll have to see what happens when the market opens. Given the overall bearish outlook, there's a good chance that many of these genomic companies will open bearish today. Allogene was up 2.73% as of Friday, and we have hit a resistance out here at 11.98, and we have a support, which is this diagonal line of support. I'm going to mark this as green. This is where we are going to end up today. So this is the point where we have the diagonal line intersecting for the 11th, and it's at 11.60. So 11.60 is the bottom where we may get support, and we may also get support at 11.62 with the 9-day exponential moving average, which is the yellow line out here. And therefore the support is very strong. No pre-market trades. MACD is bearish, but it's moving towards the signal line. Momentum is above average and pointed upwards. So Allogene may not do that bad. Potentially it may open positive. Whether it stays positive throughout the day is anyone's guess. So overall, I would say that genomics are going to have a bearish open, but the beaten down genomics are likely to be doing better, and the ones which did very well yesterday are likely to show a bit of weakness. That's how I expect the price action for today, but most of the things are likely to start shaping up from Wednesday onwards, when we have Delta Airlines reporting. And the biggest bulk of action is going to happen on Friday, along with options expiry. So it's going to be an exciting week. And with that, my friend, I bring this video to an end. I hope you like this much more trimmed format, where I'm trying to aim for somewhere around 15 to 16 minutes max. If you like this video, please press a like out there. And if you have not yet subscribed, why not? Just subscribe and help us grow this community. Thanks and have a great day. Bye for now.